Welcome guys to my latest and greatest invention. This is the data pack I'm going to be calling Scalabor's Mob Changer. A pretty simple name there, but I can't really think of any other way to describe it without going into too much detail, I guess, but you'll figure out more of those information things later on in this video. Now the main premise of this data pack is that what it does is it counts every single mob that spawns in your world, be it a certain specific type of mob. So a squid, zombie pigmen, evokers, vindicators, and a few others, just to name a few. And obviously what it does is it uses their data and measures it to that of a scoreboard, which loops around up to a maximum of 100, and then spawns in new mobs or gives them new effects based on that other scoreboard. So basically what this basically does is it's a randomizer which gives mobs new effects and spawns in mobs in locations they shouldn't usually be able to spawn, using scoreboards and data and functions and everything else and everything that we love. So the best way to explain how this really works is just simply show you how it works. So I'm going to list off some values first of all, and then we're going to get right into the demonstration. I'm going to go into a few different worlds here so you guys can see just about how it works properly. But first of all, there is now an 8% chance that when a squid spawns, it will summon a dolphin in addition to the squid. And what this means is it means that dolphins can now spawn in river biomes and anywhere that squids could spawn before. So there is a small chance that squid could spawn in like a desert lake, and then of course you can get a dolphin spawning at an even lower chance. And this basically just means that you can find dolphins in more places, and if you are using this data pack in conjunction with SCUR, which I would hope you are, then you will occasionally get a different skin for the dolphin as well. So the regular grey dolphin can be converted to a pink dolphin if it spawns in a river, for example. And that's just one of the many features that gets brought into this data pack using resources and biome based skins. And honestly, there's so many things like that I'm looking forward to showing you guys. I'm really proud of this one, and I'm sure you guys are going to love it. So in addition to the squid, you can also get them from salmon as well. So 8% of salmon that spawn will be a dolphin. Salmon are the only type of fish that will spawn in a river. As I'm sure you can imagine, that kind of makes sense with salmon in rivers. I'm sure you guys have all seen those videos of bears catching salmon, always in river runs and things like that. So dolphins can now spawn in rivers, and when they do, they will have a pink texture if you're using SCUR v3.5. 20% chance that zombie pigmen will spawn with a zombie. Now the zombie spawning algorithm is a bit strange here, so what it will do is it will occasionally spawn a zombie singularly for each pigman, and then occasionally you'll just get a pack of 4 zombies spawning at once. But I've tried to space this out in such a way so that you will usually find either mobs of 4 zombies or kind of 2 to 3 zombies at once in a pack of pigmen. And it basically just means that when you come up against pigmen, you immediately see that these zombies are coming at you, and they're always going to be aggressive, obviously, and it just makes it a little bit more difficult as well. In addition to that, there's also a 5% chance that zombie pigmen can spawn with a creeper. Now, the creepers that spawn in the Nether are incredibly fast. They have the equivalent of about speed 2 potion, I believe, and they can also have an even smaller chance that they will actually summon a lightning bolt to their location, which will charge them and, of course, give them a much larger explosion radius. I know this is quite a lot to take in, but trust me, it works, basically. Trust me, it works, and I'll show you guys exactly the details in just a moment. There's also a 12% chance that zombie pigmen will spawn with a cave spider as well, and that's more so just to add the annoying little bastards to the Nether as well, because I think we all agree that cave spiders are like the worst mob in the game, so you'll now be able to find those in the Nether as well. There's now also a 4% chance that when a magma cube spawns in, it will spawn in with the size tag of 7, which means that it will be absolutely huge, and I'm going to find a way to show you guys the huge magma cubes and the huge slimes in a moment. So 4% chance for magma cubes, but an 8% chance for slimes, so it's slightly more likely that you'll find a large slime. There's also a 3% chance that a vindicator will spawn with an illusioner, and a 6% chance that an evoker will spawn with an illusioner. And this basically means that the illusioner is no longer an unused mob. If you have this data pack installed, you can find illusioners in the world. If you're using SCUR, you'll have different textures for all these mobs, and if you're using SGT, you'll have a different loot table for the illusioner as well, as opposed to just the default bow. So as you can see, I've kind of been preparing for this for quite a while. If you have my texture pack installed, we now have loads of new custom skins that can be spawned in only by this data pack. And of course, this data pack spawns in mobs that can only really have a loot table if you have a data pack installed, such as SGT, which is my original data pack, which adds loot tables and recipes and everything else. So without much further to say, I think it's better if we just get straight into it. So first of all, we're going to showcase the Dolphins, as it's the most simple change and the first one I thought of. So I'm going to head over to a biome which is entirely river. So here we go. So here we are in a more or less fresh world. I've just set this world up. It's actually a buffet world consisting entirely of the river biome. It may not look like it, but everything we see here is going to be river. So if you look to the left of the screen right now, you can see biome, Minecraft, river, and that applies to everything here. Now, what I've set up with Optifine using SCUR is that when a dolphin spawns in a river biome, it will switch to a pink skin to emulate kind of a pink river dolphin that, I'm sure you all know what pink river dolphins are by this point. But yeah, so obviously dolphins can't usually spawn in river biomes, but now they can, because whenever a squid spawns or a salmon spawns, there is a small chance that it will also spawn a dolphin. And you'll see this effect very soon. So if I just quickly do game rule, do mob spawning, true, we're going to start having mobs spawn, and you can see that the SMC global count is going up, and it will reset every time it gets to 100, and you can already see the results coming in here. We have pink dolphins spawning around the squid and the salmon. These dolphins are adorable. They're like the cutest thing ever, and they're also really rare as well, because usually in a Minecraft world you won't have a huge open space like this, which is all river biome. You will usually only have a very small area, and of course the number of squids spawning in a river biome as opposed to an ocean biome will be a lot lower. So finding a solitary dolphin, or usually two dolphins together as it will usually be, is actually going to be quite a rare occurrence. The way that the code works for this one is I believe pink dolphins will spawn when the counter is at 20 and 21 and 70 and 71. And I believe there's also a few other locations as well. But the point I'm trying to make is that you will always usually find dolphins in pairs. Because if two squids spawn in one after another, or two salmon spawn in one after another, and there's no other mobs affected by the data pack that load in, then it's very likely that you will just simply get two dolphins. And the more we travel around here, you can see the SMC global tag is going to tick up as we get more mobs spawning in, and there we go, we have a pair of pink dolphins spawning in with these squid and salmon that have spawned here. So finding dolphins in rivers with this lovely pink texture is going to be a really common occurrence now. And again, it just adds like a really rare mob variant to the game that you can go out and collect, or just be happy to see every once in a while, you know, stumble upon this and go, oh my god, that dolphin's pink, that's so cool, how cool is that? So yeah, again, you will have to have SMC and also SCUR installed at the same time to have this work, but I really think it's worth it. So next up, I want to show you guys how Illusionists can spawn in the pack. Illusions will actually spawn based on pillager spawns, and this currently means that they can spawn in raids and not mansions. Now, I'm going to be adding them to mansions at some point in the future, but I'm not currently sure how best to do it. So if we look over here, you can see that the Illusionist did actually spawn in. He's just here. Now, unfortunately, the problem with this is that the Illusionist doesn't actually count as part of the raid, and therefore he's not going to follow these guys into battle, which is a bit crap. But this is kind of an early stage of me just saying that these Illusionists are now added to the game. I'm not even sure that Illusionists will actually attack villages. I'm not entirely sure how their AI works. Let me just test this. Is he going to attack him? Well, he does attack him. Okay, so he... Wait, is he? Wait, what? Did he just change him to a cleric? Wait, what just happened? Do your thing. Wait, why are you, like, being weird? What the hell is this? Why? What the whoa. Why is he all shaky? This mob is so strange, but, oh, it's that. Okay, yeah, he was doing the split thing. That's so weird. It's really interesting to see, though. It's cool. But yeah, this is basically a way of saying that Illusionists will now be part of raids. Now, obviously, it doesn't matter whether or not you kill the Illusionist, whether or not it counts to the raid being defeated. There isn't currently a way of changing that so that you can include the Illusionist as part of the raid. You can't have him come into the village and attack the villagers like the rest of the raiders do. But, however, he does have loot if you have SGT installed. So now, if you have SD... What's this one called again? There's so many now. There's like 6 different things. This one's SMC, yeah. So if you have SMC installed, there is now a chance that you will get the Illusionist spawning in whenever you fight a raid. And yeah, if you have SGT installed, he will actually have his custom loot table of the invisibility potion, the bow, arrows, and emeralds, just like the rest of the pillagers have had their loot tables tweaked a little bit as well. So yeah, really simple change with this one, but occasionally you can have Illusionists spawn in raids. I am going to add them into mansions at some point in the future, because I realise obviously they are a lot more appropriate to be in mansions. But for now, it's just going to be raids. So yeah, if you're raiding a village and you see an Illusionist, don't be surprised. It's just me making your life very, very difficult. For this next showcase, it's a little bit easier if I go into night vision and get some creepers out here. If I spawn myself in a creeper, you can see that he's ticking up the SMC global scoreboard on the right-hand side. Now, there is a 1% chance that a skeleton can now spawn in a wither skeleton alongside him. So if I was to go scoreboard, that wasn't scoreboard. Scoreboard, players, it's called SMC global, and then, nope, set SMC global to 0. Then once that's... What do you mean? Why can't I set it to 0? Oh, right, Scal debug 0. I'm still learning, guys. Then occasionally what you'll see is that we'll spawn in a wither skeleton. Now, to be precise, this is on the second tick of SMC Global, so obviously 3 isn't going to spawn one in, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But every time the SMC Global score is at 2 and a wither skeleton spawn and a regular skeleton spawns in, it will also spawn in a wither skeleton. I feel like I explained that really badly, but you guys get what I mean. Basically, 1% of the time you will find a wither skeleton anywhere that a skeleton could spawn beforehand. So you will technically find slightly more wither skeletons in the Nether, and you will also find a wither skeleton in the Overworld very, very rarely. Now you have to remember, this SMC Global scoreboard can be ticked up by a number of different mobs. Squids, salmon, skeletons, pillagers, slimes, everything else that's kind of included in this data pack as well. So it's actually even more rare that you will find a wither skeleton. So if you have any concerns about wither skeletons being a little bit too common in the Overworld, don't be, because it's 1% chance, but it ends up being more along the lines of like a 0.3% chance, I think I did the math about. So yeah, and again, it all depends on other mobs and their levels of spawn rates as well. It's just kind of an interesting thing that very rarely, very, very rarely, you will occasionally find a big, brutal wither skeleton in your Overworld. So. Now, before we get to my favourite features I've added in this data pack, I first wanted to show off slimes and magma cubes. I guess magma cubes do technically come under the umbrella of the nether mobs, but it's difficult to show because of how rare it is, so I'm going to show you guys up here in the Overworld. So first of all, we have slimes and magma cubes. These guys are our lovable cubic friends that we find really annoying most of the time, I believe. But there you go. Now, magma cubes always come in one of 3 different sizes as well as slime. So you have the tiniest version, which is this one right here. You have the medium version, which is one above this. And then you have the large version, which is a little bit over a block tall, I believe. Now, some of you may know that a lot of mobs in the game do actually have a size tag. So if I go summon slime at this location and then do an NBT of size and then a number, this can actually determine the size of the slime. So size 0 is the tiniest slime that you can get there, size 1 is the medium slime, and then size 3 is the large slime, and every time you go bigger than that, the slimes will just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, the first cutoff point that I find quite interesting is size 7. When you make a slime which is size 7, it will actually be so big that it will split in half into these large slimes, and then into the medium slimes, and then into the small slimes, effectively creating a 4th tier of slime in the game. So if I do size 7, you'll see this guy is absolutely ginormous, and he moves very quickly, which is also a little bit scary. I actually considered giving these guys like a slowness debuff, which would mean that they're a lot less powerful because you cannot outrun these things. They're like deceptively fast, basically. Let's see if we can like run fast as this guy. I mean, it's difficult to say because it's bouncing, but you can see how they would be really fast, basically. I think you can outrun them actually quite easily, but I find it really interesting how with the slimes, when their size increases, their speed increases by like a similar factor. It's really cool. So yeah, he will split into the large slimes, and then they will split into medium slimes, and then they will split into small slimes. So in other words, what I'm saying is very rarely you'll be able to. Is that one of the one? That's a big one. That's a big one. There's like a 3% chance of that happening. He just spawned right here. How did that even happen? Did I do that? Wait, what? How did he spawn in? Look, those are large ones. And then those were medium ones. Oh, I just realized what happened. Oh, that's really bad. That's really bad, actually. Okay, I'm not. That's real. Yeah. See, this is the thing. Whenever you're playing with like command stuff, you always discover things that are really interesting. So there is a tiny, tiny chance that when a magma cube spawns in, it will have the size 7 tag as opposed to its original size tag. Turns out that can actually count towards when the slimes split in half. I didn't know that, actually. That's easily solvable, but I also don't really see a reason to, because it kind of is an interesting mechanic. I'll leave that for now, because I think it's interesting, and obviously the pack is complete in my eyes right now. That's a feature I could very easily change in the future by tagging new mobs with a certain thing, and tagging the smaller ones with nothing, and then meaning that the new mobs can spawn large, but the smaller ones can't. So yeah, this will likely get fixed in version 1.1, but for now, yeah, slimes can actually spawn huge when they split, which is which is really cool, actually. That's really, really cool. Anyway, yeah, so the point I'm getting at is that occasionally, very, very rarely, you can find slimes with size 7 and magma cubes with size 7, which will mean that there's now like a 4th tier of slime in the game. It's very rare, granted. I think there's a 4% chance with the magma cube and then 8% chance with the slime. But obviously, magma cubes spawn very rarely as it is, and slimes are not the easiest mob to find in the game, apart from like in swamps at night and stuff like that. So yeah, you may very rarely find a really, really big cube that wants to eat you. So yeah. And now we get to my personal favourite feature of today's pack, which is the Nether. One thing I really wanted to do when I set out to make this pack was make the Nether a lot more brutal and a lot more varied. A lot of you will have seen in Minecon 2019 recently that we actually are going to be getting a huge update to the Nether in the near future. But that's not going to be coming for quite a while, so obviously we are going to be waiting around for a little bit for our new features, such as the new biomes and the new mobs. So for now, I've just made the Nether a little bit more interesting. Yeah, there's one of the interesting things that we'll go over in just a moment. So now in the Nether, as I mentioned before, you can find zombies, creepers, and cave spiders, and technically you can find lightning bolts as well. Now, the reasoning behind this is because creepers, when they get struck by lightning, is they can actually get supercharged. If I get myself a creeper just here, you'll see that when the creepers spawn in the Nether, they actually spawn with this kind of red and dark skin. I'm going to give myself night vision so we can actually see what's going on here. Effect, give Excalibur night vision for a bit of time with no amplifier, with no particle effects. Thank you. It's going to be very red because of my light table, but there you go. So here we go. We have the red creeper skin. It's very, very simple. It's kind of semi-based on the Natura skin. There is, of course, the Nitro creeper that you find in Natura. And to match the creepers that you can find in Natura, when a creeper spawns in naturally from the algorithm, it will actually be really, really fast. So for reference, this is a naturally spawned creeper that I've just spawned in with a spawn egg, and as a result, its movement speed is normal. So if this guy can move around, we'll see it. He's not going to move around, is he? Can you just move, dude? There we go. So he's very slow. He's very normal speed. But if we find a creeper that's been spawned in by the algorithm, that'll be one. Then it will actually be very, very fast. I believe it's about 3 times the speed of the default creeper, and trust me, it's terrifying when you find them. In addition to the creeper, we also have the zombies that can spawn in the Nether. As you can see here, I've gone for sort of a halfway look between the zombie pigman and the zombie. So I guess that makes this guy a zombie. Because if he's a zombie pigman, he's a zombie. I don't know. Don't listen to me. But as you can see, his skin is really, really cool. It's kind of like a halfway between the two skins. You can see his skeleton underneath, the ribcage, the bones on his knees, and of course the kind of loosened head, which is kind of an overlay over the top of the head as well. I just think it looks really, really cool. These guys are really fitting for the Nether. They look really awesome, and when I don't have this terrible red saturation, you can see their skin in their full glory. If I do effect, clear, Excalibur, night vision, thank you. You can see this guy properly now. So he's got like a green skin, all his clothes have been desaturated quite a bit, and of course he's had the inside of the skull change quite a bit to look a zombie face. The eyes have been moved down and across and given a different colour, and he's got this different kind of colouring and shading all along. I just think he looks really, really good. I think this kind of Nether zombie, in quotation marks, is one of the best textures I've made in a while. It's kind of like a weird combination of the zombie pigment and the zombie, obviously with some additional changes, such as coloration, saturation, obviously all that kind of thing as well. Now, it's going to be a while before we find a creeper, because creepers are the rarest mob to spawn in from this data pack. We literally just found one. Of course we did. Of course we did. So we'll showcase the creeper now because it's already here. As I mentioned before, creepers, when they spawn from this data pack, are incredibly fast. They are scarily fast. I'm trying to think what the best way of showcasing this. Well, there you go. You can see him moving around on his own. But yeah, every single mob when it spawns in actually has a number of base stats, such as movement speed, armor, health, damage they can deal. And you can actually increase these when summoning the mob in initially. Every single creeper that gets spawned in by this algorithm has a considerably higher base movement speed. And when you look at these guys in survival mode, it can be terrifying. I'm going to showcase that in just a moment, I think, as well. But yeah, while we're also here, we also now have these little cave spiders. It's difficult to see the change in their skin while they're in here, so I'll take them over to a little bit more light place. But as you can see, it's just sort of like a browny red skin, which just better fits the Nether, as opposed to the original bluey black and grey skin that you get of the cave spider in the overworld. So there you go. So zombies look like a halfway between zombie pigmen and zombies. Creepers are red and are supposed to mimic the Nitro creepers from Natura. And of course, cave spiders have that kind of browny red coloration that we would expect from the kind of Nether color palette, if that makes any sense. That looks really strange. Look at that, because magma overlays onto netherrack, but it doesn't overlay onto quartz. That's so strange. I get inspiration from making these showcase videos, guys. That's how easy it is. But yeah, so over here we have some more mobs. I'm going to show you guys how terrifying the creeper can actually be. I'm going to just get rid of some of the other baddies before we start off with this. Zombies, anything else that wants to eat me? Not really. Okay. Where did that creeper go? Is he still here? I feel like he just left, didn't he? There he is. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go to game mode survival. Don't do this at home. These creepers are... Yeah, they're very fast. They're very, very fast. They have the equivalent of speed 2, which means that if you are sprinting as a player, I believe they actually can outrun you a little bit. I'm yet to test this because currently I'm actually using speed 2 in order to be able to keep ahead of this guy. But yeah, he's very, very fast, as you can see. This is easily my favourite change. That's the next bit we need to talk about as well. This is easily my favourite change of all the things in the data pack, is the creepers in the nether. They are terrifying. They're super speedy, they have this new red coloration, and of course there is that small chance that they can occasionally get hit by lightning, literally summon a lightning bolt to their location to become supercharged. And if any of you guys know, when a creeper is supercharged, you will create a massive... a massive explosion. I actually didn't realize how big the explosion was and was expecting to survive that. So there you go. You get an idea of how bad these guys are. So to give you a few more figures, there is only a 5% chance that a creeper can spawn in when a zombie pigman spawns in, and further to that, there is an even smaller chance that a random creeper that's already in the world will be hit by lightning every time a creeper spawns in. So there is actually a separate clock aside from SMC Global called Nitro Creeper, and it counts up to 6 and then resets. And if a creeper happens to spawn when it's on 2, then a lightning bolt will be summoned in, strike the creeper, and make it a charged creeper, creating the most powerful, fastest, creepiest, terrifying mob in the entire game. I love it. I love this. I think it's amazing. So yeah, I will again just remind you guys that this is a data pack, not a resource pack. So if you want to have the resources that you've seen in this video, such as the midway zombies, the different coloured dolphins, the different coloured cave spiders as well, and of course the red nitro creepers, then you will need to download and install SCUR v3.5, which will be coming in the next couple days. So if you guys enjoyed the data pack, please do comment below with any other suggestions you have for alterations of mobs. As I said, I am planning to add the Illusionist to the wooden mansions. Are they called mansions? Wooden mansions? Is it just mansions? I think they're just called mansions, aren't they? I'm planning on adding the Illusionist to the mansions in a different way in the future, when we get a little bit more into structure editing with SGT. But yeah, for now we get these all new mobs spawning in the Nether, and of course we get the occasional very rare mobs spawning in the Overworld, such as the Wither Skeleton, Pink Dolphin, and of course the Giant Slimes. So yeah, if you guys have any other recommendations for mobs that you want me to add with this new method of spawning in random mobs with random attributes, different levels of health, damage, speed, potion effects, whatever, then I will gladly do it. So please comment below, join the Discord if you want to discuss with me and the guys anything else to do with resource pack and data pack stuff at all. And yeah, I will see you in SCUR v3.5. Should be out this Thursday or Friday. If not, it'll be the weekend. But yeah, it'll be very soon either way, so don't worry about that too much. Download is in the description as always. And I have nothing left to say. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.